I remember the first time Isaiah, our oldest, brought a report card home. I was probably more nervous for that report card than any other report card in my whole life.
It's news to me. Okay.
It was like, I didn't care that he failed for him. I cared that he failed for me. It was definitely more selfish than like,
Yeah.
hey, son, I want you to learn how to read for you. It was like, son, you better know how to read for me. Isn't that interesting?
It's an interesting story. Been harboring that, for years.
'Cause you are the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Man, do I look loud.
You look very loud.
Who dressed me? Who dressed me today? Look at you over there with your bluey.
Yeah, you got your
blue
data
eye.
corn shirt
I
on.
do.
Represent the kids, because this is an episode about the kids, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we are talking about how do you navigate? How do you get beyond your kid's performance being a piece of your own identity? Have you ever struggled with that? I don't even know. Is that something that you've ever been like, oh, if they don't do well, this really reflects on me, and I care more about that than their success?
I don't know. Yes, not in the way that you maybe have, but I think for me, it's about the respect. Like, if they're not respectful, that I feel is a reflection. The performance, I don't know why that's never been a big thing for me, but I have not cared about that. I've cared about their character and their heart.
Yeah.
But recently, I was just yesterday telling someone that it's taken me, how many years have we been a parent?
11. Well, if you count our niece Passion, 21 years.
Yeah, we were basically parents.
I didn't feel
babies.
that, it's different when it's not your own child in that sense, because there's so much that you can't take credit for. You know what I mean? There's a certain level of DNA and programming that takes place outside of your home before they even get to you, that you're kind of like, I can't own that.
That's true. But I guess what I was just trying to say, there are times when you have to realize that your child is going to do and be who your child is going to be. Yeah. Even if you are the best.
I'm unleashing the unicorn.
Okay, let the unicorn.
The unicorn's breathing right now. He's breathing.
But even if you are the best parent and the most intentional with your child, sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And there came a point where I personally, I'll speak for myself, had to say, it's okay if my child fails. It's okay if my child isn't behaving like whatever. I know what I've done as a parent. I know what I've invested. And it's not a reflection of me. It's just not. And I have to let my child.
But some of it is. I mean, what's that point? What's that point where some of it is?
That's a reflection of you.
That's a nice scapegoat. Anything that goes wrong is a reflection of
100%.
dad,
Yes.
and anything that goes right is a reflection of
100%.
mom.
Exactly.
That's a nice place
That's
to
how
be.
I sleep at night.
I remember long drives home when I was a kid after a sports game. Now, this is the reason why I never played baseball. Now, my family was a baseball family. All my uncles played baseball. My grandpa played baseball. My dad was like a baseball nut. He loved baseball. He played softball, did everything. And my brother played baseball. And after every game, the car ride home was brutal because my dad would walk through everything my brother should have did differently in the game. And that was just enough to be like, I do not want this life. That criticism that you think you're helping, but as I watched, all I saw was my brother shut down more and more and more, to the point where he was like, I don't want I don't want the advice. I don't want it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's over. My mom would be in the front seat like this, just like, Al, enough already, right? But my dad was just wanting, and I don't know if this was where my dad's heart was at, but just like his heart was probably, I want to help my son become the best baseball player he could possibly be. And it was so much criticism. And all criticism creates is distance. It does not actually help you and help them in their whatever you're trying to help them in. Isn't that funny how the things that we aim to do, especially when it has a little bit of idolatry in it, like if your kid's performance is the thing that you find your identity in, isn't it funny how the Lord has ordered and patterned that the thing that you want and it's your identity and it's apart from him, you just will never get there and you'll actually lose the thing you want the most, right? And that's why if you criticize and push and you're gonna, your kid's not gonna play that sport anymore. They're gonna hate it because it's only going to stir up that reminder that they're not good enough, right? And you don't want them to feel not good enough. You want to help them because not for them, but for you. And so that's why it matters so much in that. And so you lose your son or daughter, and then you also lose the thing that you wanted them to be good at. It's how I think that's how God helps us find true pleasure and true identity in pursuing him. And I think it's pursuing excellence. Because oftentimes it's the difference between excellence and perfectionism, right? God calls us to excellence and to do all things to the best of our ability for his glory, for his honor. But we flip it on the head upside down when we're saying, no, go and do this for my glory, right? Think of times we've seen parents on the soccer field. I mean, you're on the sideline.
I might be one of those parents. I don't
That's
know.
one of the blessings of being the coach is like you're kind of disconnected from the parents. Yeah. Sometimes you get the parent coach who's kind of crazy, but you're over there in the trenches with them, right? What's some signs that you know that parent is shouting at their kid for them, not for their kid?
When the kid's purposely ignoring the parent while the parent's telling the kid how to play, or the kid's like, Dad, you're not my coach, or the kid's parent, last game, it was this kid did this fancy move against one of the players on your team, and the kid's walking back and the mom says, so how'd that fancy move work out for you? And the kid just rolled his eyes and walked away, and it's like, those are the moments. But
what are the signs you're doing it right? But wait.
Yeah.
One more. What are the signs that the parent's doing it right?
I read something once.
Yeah.
And I've channeled this because I was the parent filming the videos for you, and I was the parent being like, oh, I played soccer forever ago when I wasn't chunky and could run. My mic was like...
it's...
Yeah, it was dumb. But
you got to screw the
it's
bottom.
also having performance issues.
What do you mean by also? Dang. We're going there today? My unicorn would say otherwise. Girl, you are turning it the wrong way.
That's what she said. Okay.
We're going to need some parental advisories on this show.
Yeah,
if we keep on doing that.
A little bit. Well, signs that you're doing it right. I read this thing once, and it talked about, and because I used to film the kids, and I would be in the background being like, I played soccer once. If you just win the ball, Isaiah, or Silas. Like, you're small, but you're mighty. You got to stay tough, stay grounded. And Jeremiah, just pay attention, right? I was trying to be helpful. And then I read this article that was like, the only thing a parent should ever cheer from the sideline is, hey, son or daughter, you're doing a great job. You can do it.
Yeah.
And go. I
Yeah.
believe in you. That's it. Like, that's
For
all
sure.
that your child should ever hear from the sideline. And so now I think if you listen to me and the filming of the videos, you should be able to just hear those things. I really try not to coach anymore.
Yeah.
Because what that article also said is, what your kid doesn't hear is a parent encouraging. They hear a parent criticizing, a parent tearing down. And if they're in an already frustrating situation in a game,
Oh, yeah.
you become the voice that takes them completely out of the game and really injures their chances of overcoming even that moment in the game where they're losing and they're down.
Yeah.
Because you've completely taken them out with your criticism. And you're not the coach still.
Mm.
So, but I do have a question, though. I'm curious, how was Isaiah's report card?
Oh, he's so smart.
But do you remember?
I don't. But I just know, I remember the relief when it was probably one of those standardized test scores, really, when it was like, what percentile is he in? Is he in this percentile or is he in that percentile? Is he high end? Is he low end? Because those felt like they mattered, but
They don't.
they don't.
Parents, we're here to tell you standardized testing does not matter. Also, another reason we homeschool. But I think to that statement, we put these pressures on our children because we believe that they are a reflection of us as parents. And the reality is that we don't remember the report card. We don't remember the standardized score testing. What we do know is we have incredible children who are kind, who are loving, who are giving, who are, for the most part, very respectful. And that is the true reflection of us.
And because the opposite happens too, where that kid actually does internalize that and does work incredibly hard for their parents.
Yes.
And achieves and gets the things that and gets the awards. And that's just as dangerous because ultimately you're still not helping them to give the glory to its true source. Yeah. They're working for something that's not God's glory. And we trust the Bible and it's true. That's not going to satisfy them. Yeah. Even when it works out. It's actually probably more dangerous when it works out because they're going to keep on going back to it. They're going to feel a success that's only here on this earth, and that will not satisfy them.
And honestly, we all disappoint our parents at some point in time. So even the highest achiever for mom and dad's praise and pat on the back is going to eventually stop achieving to the level of satisfaction of the parent. And so what I do want to say with that, though, is I still do want to make sure parents also understand that same token. Sometimes you can really do all of the right things by your child. Say all of the right things. Encourage and invest in all of the correct things. And your child could still do something that does not align to your values or your beliefs as a parent or their upbringing. And that feels devastating because that feels like the greatest insult, the greatest reflection of you. And then that feels like, oh, well, what are people going to say? What are people going to do? How are they going to judge me? How are they going to judge the rest of my kids? And that is when we have to remember our children are also their own person. They have independent thoughts and behaviors outside of us. And we can try to mold them and shape them and keep them in their bubbles, right?
Like, do you remember when our niece went to was with people who were shoplifting? Do you remember that?
She's really gonna hate that story. Yes, I do.
So it's
remember.
like, and we raised our niece, and then all of a sudden she just was like
chose a bad crowd,
and they were out shoplifting, taking liquor. They went to a person's house and they were drinking. She says she wasn't, and I believe that, I think, but because then she also drove all those people home when she was like 15. She didn't have or maybe she didn't have a license. I know she didn't have a license, but yeah, she chose to drive all the people home because she was the only one capable of driving. And it was like, and she didn't even drive her own car because she didn't have a license. So she drove like the girl's parents' car. It was like,
So many
you're like,
things
you're
could've
like,
gone wrong.
you did what?
Who
Who
raised you?
raised you?
But that was my moment, honestly, when I was like, I finally understand how like you can have all the kids in a home and raise them all the same, and one of them decides to go a whole different way, and that's not on you.
Mm-mm.
That child is wired how that child is going to be wired, but that child is also someone that God loves
Yeah,
and that God can work through.
that's right.
And it doesn't always mean that you're going to be, and how you raise your child is going to be what shapes that child into who you want that child to become.
Right.
And you got to accept that as a parent, that it doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It doesn't mean you failed your child. Your child is a person outside of you. I wish parents knew this so much sooner, because I think that would have helped me to let go of some things so much earlier and to stop controlling every aspect of who I wanted my child to be, because that child is going to become who that child is going to become outside of me.
Well, there's roles too. So where's the balance? Because there are some things that are like clearly boundaries and roles.
I'm
have
not
to play a
saying
part.
don't teach your children right from wrong. I'm not saying don't teach your children about God. I'm not saying don't teach
You're
your
saying
children.
we need, like, if you imagine it like a stream, like we
Mhm.
need to make sure the kids are in the stream of God's word and having the proper values and having the proper instruction. That's the stream that they've got to be in. But if they're not going to drink from it,
They're not going to drink from
You
it.
can't make them drink from it.
You can't
But
sit
you
here
can,
putting little Billy's head down the stream
But
and
you
shouting,
can-
"Drink, Billy, drink!"
you can do your job and like throw them in the pool.
Sure.
And let the spirit operate.
Holy Spirit activate, right? Like, yeah, you can do that. But I think we get so fixated on building this perfect child, because then we want people to pat us on the back and sing our praises,
I get it.
right? But the reality is we are also broken. We are also so flawed
Yeah.
that it's almost ludicrous to think that we would produce these perfect little human beings who don't sin.
One
And-
thing that because I obviously love soccer, and I wanted my son to be a professional soccer player one day.
Still do.
I think I've let it go a little bit. I think one of the things that's helped me, because I have that I'm my father's son. I have that critical edge that I can bring out, and I can see it in my son's eyes when I start to get over the top there. And I've started to say, and I think it's helped. I started to say, son, I'm here for you. Right? And that reminds me, one, this is about him. It's not about me. It's about him. If he wants it, and I say, son, I'm sorry. This is meant for your benefit. If you would like it, I'm here. I know quite a bit about this sport. If you don't, it's okay. I'm not here to pressure you or force you to do anything. And it's helped me to take a step back, especially when that critical thing where you're trying to hammer this point. Look at, if you got a date, you got to do this in this situation, and you got focus, pay attention. You got, and like it's like whoa.
Intense.
That's why, because that's how it can be. The kid's gonna zone out. They're not actually out. You're more interested in than they are. You're trying to get the same level of interest from them that's in you, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
and
you gotta take a step
interestingly
back and say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm here for you. If you want this, I can walk you through it.
And interestingly enough,
And
his
sometimes
desire to play has increased.
His desire to play has increased, and there's also, you gotta also know that there's times where they're like, yeah, I don't care,
Yeah.
and they just want to play and have fun,
And
and
that's okay. You still have a perfectly beautiful and
that's right.
wonderful child who loves you and wants to make you happy. But it's also learning that he has a voice and he has interests, and it's okay for him to explore those. And I also still think that it's important for us to remember that our kids are going to do things that we don't agree with and we did not raise them to be with, but we can still love them through it and we can walk them through it, but it doesn't mean that we fail them.
That's right.
We're ultimately got to make sure that we are giving that child back to God. And I've had to really, like, sometimes I find myself going like this when my child is doing something that I don't love lately, because I'm reminding myself to hold that child loosely. That child is God's, and I'm given that child for such a short time.
That's right.
And in that short time, I'm going to love that child, and I'm going to teach that child about Jesus, and I'm going to train up the child in the way he should go. And my prayer is that when he's old, he will not depart from it. But I can't guarantee that. And
Well, because that's where the gospel's at. Because if you consider if your identity is in your kid's performance, that creates a situation where your care for them appears, not saying it is, but it can have the appearance of being conditional on what they do.
yeah.
That is the opposite of God's love. There couldn't be anything further than that. God does not love you based on your works. He loves you because you're his child. And the moment you start to edge down my identity's in my kid's performance, if they fail a test, it's as though I failed a test and I feel like a failure. And now it's like, wait a second. Bring it back. You need to create a context in your home where it's unconditional love, where you're telling your kids, I love you not because of what you do. I love you because of who you are. You're my son, you're my daughter, and as long as you're that, you got my love.
And what a safety net, what a beautiful safety net for a child to have for all their lifetime.
Yeah. And that's the bedrock where you can actually fail. And there's freedom in the failure. There's freedom in it to also be successful, and successful for the right reasons. Because it's not you're not making it conditioned on approval. You're making it conditioned on a pursuit of excellence and growth, right? To God's glory, to God's honor for his people. Instead of I want to be successful to please my dad or to please my mom or to win some approval of something that's not God. Whereas the conditions are going to be set forth in a house that's built on grace. It says, there's no conditions here, man. You got my love.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And it reminds me of this. I love this idea of, like, the louder your child is, the wilder that it often means, the safer that child feels in your love for him or her. And that is the heart of unconditional love, that no matter what area they go or how wild and crazy they get, even sometimes how cranky and mean they get, are you safe? Are you there to love them no matter what, to love them through the good and the hard?
That reminds me of something a guy said to me. This had to be when Isaiah was like 2. And he worded it so weird that I never heard it worded like this. But that's also the reason why I never left. Isaiah was playing in the foyer at church, and he came up and just started talking with me. We were both talking, but watching Isaiah. And he says, he looks really content in your love. I was like, oh, my word. That's like, what a compliment that he looks, the little 2-year-old just looks content in his dad's love. I was like, oh, my word.
That's beautiful.
Can I frame that? Can I take you with me everywhere I go? Just fill my bucket.
Getting a little creepy.
Maybe.
Just kidding. That is beautiful. And your sons they are very contented.
Got me
Likewise.
setting all I know on fire, 'cause you kept me every time I mess it up. And everybody says that things are bound to change, but I hope they stay the same, 'cause you are the best thing ever happened to me.